Welcome to episode 6 of the How to Make a Simple Game in Unity step-by-step tutorial. We're just picking up where we left off in the last video by restyling the layout of our game world, adding the boss character and getting into the mechanics of the game for the first time. At the end of this episode, your player can grab a painting and walk around with it. Hi, I'm a part-time indie developer and illustrator. I've gained my knowledge through thousands of online tutorials, and now I want to give something back and share these skills with you. If you like these videos, subscribe to the channel to not miss new videos coming up, and if you want to support me, check out my website that contains my published games and a detailed dev blog and much more, or hit me up on Twitter. And if I now touch the painting, it now changes and displays the Cheval à la Lune from Marc Chagall and a short description. Perfect. And if I exit, nothing happens, and that's basically it. Of course, it assigns it again. I can see this from the debug logs, but it doesn't change anything here. So let's see what we can do about this. Back in our painting function script, we now want to have a method that changes the image back to the question mark image and all the other information as well as soon as we leave the artwork. And this is pretty simple. We have this onTriggerEnter function, and we can copy this, paste it down here, and just call it onTriggerExit2D. And every time we exit, no matter what, we always want to show the no artwork. So here we go. And now with this setup, it should now, as soon as I leave the image again, show the question mark. And it does. So what we can do now is pretty simple. We can take this painting. Now let's rename it later. Just duplicate it a couple of times for each individual painting. And now I'm going to my scene view and put these paintings in my scene. For example, let's take the very first painting and put it right here. The second one is going to be somewhere here. This is a game design decision that we're going to make. If you put these two too close to each other, you might see, no, it's not actually the case, but if this box collider were to be bigger, then it maybe could also trigger the event when I come from this side, which I want not to happen. So I'll just place this one to be very sure this doesn't happen. Slightly more right so it doesn't touch the other one. We have a fifth painting. Let's play a little bit with the rotation. Put this right there, and this one maybe even up here. So how many do we have? We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and currently we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So one more. I'm gonna put this one with as well minus 90 degrees here. Good. Perfect. Now I have all my paintings spread over my scene, and of course we want to display different paintings when we touch them. The good thing, I've first created the first painting and then assigned all the UI image, title, text, artist, etc. And now, because I've just duplicated them, they are already assigned. So if you didn't assign them, it's possible that stuff is missing in here and it says none, and this will trigger. Okay, let's see, it's this one. It will trigger this null reference exception that we have here. Just keep in mind to drag these, no, the artist was already set, to drag these back in if they are missing. And we have too much debug logs at the moment, so I want to get rid of some of those. For example, This one here at display artwork, it's okay. We will see if it works or not even without this. I save it, and now, so I can already walk into all of these and I see, oh, I didn't change the artwork. Let's change it for each of them. Let's leave painting 1 as it was, but I'm gonna rename it to Chagall. This one is gonna take artwork number 2, which was in my case Hokusai. And so on. I'm just gonna stop the video here and be back when this is done. Alright, so here we go again. Nothing, and I go inside, and now it's actually displaying the correct artist with the correct title and a short description. Let's see if it works for all of them. Yes, it seems so. Now we need a way to grab these and walk around with an artwork, because our player is a thief and she or he is gonna go and steal some of them. Gonna go into the painting function, and there is one more trigger function that we can use. So let's copy one of those. Command C on a Mac, Control C on your Windows PC, and it's marking me this one as already existent in my script, but we're gonna take on trigger stay 2D. But here, when we're in the trigger and we stay there, we don't want to display the artwork. That's already done when we enter it. So we get rid of this line of code, but we want to check if the player presses a certain input to then take it. Let's first check for the input. If input.getKeyDown, and we define now a key for stealing. We could, for example, say S, or we could say space, which I like a little bit better. And let's check if this works just by printing a debug.log. Player wants to take the painting. Just to be sure this is working, I enter and I press space and nothing happens. The code we wrote is completely correct. It will check if something is inside the trigger and stays there. And if we put the space key on our keyboard, it should trigger. Why doesn't it? Because when we go to our player, we have under the rigid body component the sleeping mode. If we go to never sleep, it will work, because this might be a little bit heavier to compute for your computer, because the rigid body will every frame or the system will every frame calculate your rigid body's movement, position, and so on. But if I go inside the zone that we've defined for the painting and I press space, you can see player wants to take the painting and it works. If in any case your rigid body doesn't work, make sure the simulated tag is on. So again, please be sure to change sleeping mode to never sleep. Alright, so we have what we want, but again we're just triggering a debug log. We want to do something else. We want to make the painting a child object of the player, so he can drag it around. For example, I'm just gonna take this Marc Chagall painting and put it on the player, and if I walk around now, you will see that I'm walking around with the painting. I didn't reset its transform, so if I put this all to 0, you can see it's behind him because I also put this to 0. Yeah, alright, now I could wander around carrying this painting. I don't want this. I want to happen this through code. This is pretty simple. We're gonna say this, which just refers to the game object that is holding this script. In this case, this painting function script is on each individual painting. This dot transform dot set parent, and what shall become the parent? It's the collision, so the other object that is colliding with this one, dot transform component. So, and if we do this, we save it, we start the game, wait for Unity to compile, run into painting, we press space, we're carrying it around, just like we wanted. And we can do this now with pretty much every single one here. And that's something we also want to prevent. We're gonna do this inside here and say if the other collider, which is the player, you know, collision dot transform dot child count is less or equal to 0, only then we want to execute this one. And else, let's use this else statement, we can just debug log don't be greedy. Now we start, we can look at them, and I'm gonna grab this one. As soon as I try to grab another one, it says don't be greedy, and I can't. Why? Let's have a look at our player. It already has a child, so the child count is greater than 0. I'm gonna delete this one, and now the child count is nothing, so 0, which means I can again go here and grab it. Nice. Okay, that was it for our painting function script, and now we're gonna put in all the story elements like the boss that is asking us for the right painting, and of course the winning condition. When we deliver the right painting, we want to see a green screen saying yes, you win. When we deliver the wrong painting, then a red one with the message that we lost this. So we're gonna make our boss stand somewhere up here, and we're gonna do this under the canvas component. I'm just collapsing the frame, we don't need that so at the moment. And let's take an image and call this already boss. And here at the source image, let's add the boss 0. Now we see again it's somewhere in the middle, we don't want to have it there. Oh, what's wrong with you, boss? You look a little bit squashed together. That's not what we like to see. So we're going to the boss again, hit preserve aspect to have him the right size. And the next thing, we want to anchor it on the upper left, so we click on this grid like we did before and anchor it to the upper left. Bam, nothing changes because we need to zero him out here. Now let's place it wherever we want him to stand. Okay, this doesn't look too bad. Actually, I like how he's kind of standing behind this. Yeah, let's leave it. If you want, you can also take the whole museum and just drag it slightly down so that he doesn't look like he's standing behind it, but I kind of like it. Click again on the boss, right mouse, click and go to UI and add a text. And I'm going to stretch this text over the whole screen. Well, maybe not over the whole screen. Maybe just this size of the museum. Also here, while the boss text, let's rename it properly. Boss text, and let's take the best fit. And here it's the boss text. It's easier. We can also change the boss text color to something more light that it's better visible on this background color of the camera to white. You can always change the main camera background color over here. So yeah, good. We want to change this later on. Let's do one more thing. Let's create a quest text. The quest text is kind of the client that speaks to you and says what exactly you have to steal. Yeah, you can change this according to your idea or how you would like to have it. So I'm changing this to client text. And this text should be over the whole bottom. And we're gonna anchor it to the bottom, but also make it stretchable. So because we're very near to the edge, let's select this one. It stretches perfectly and is always, yeah, good. Okay, let's go back, standalone. Client text, I'll also here hit the best fit option and maybe make it white as well. Now everything that these guys are saying and all the logic will be put in a new script that we can call quest. So let's open this up in Visual Studio. So this one is going to be a rather big script, but don't worry, it's all fine. We're gonna do this step by step. So we had a text that is the boss text. So if I write this now, oh, why does it write texture and not text? And if I try to write text and then say boss text, it still keeps underlined and throws me an error because we're not using, as before in our art, where was it? In our painting function, we're not using this UnityEngine.ui directive, so we're going to use it now using UnityEngine.ui, and you see miraculously it disappears and it works. Let's add a couple of other things like public introduction text, public text of course, public string I mean, introduction text, a public string for the quest announcement. And now in the start method we can say that the boss text dot text equals introduction text at the very beginning. Okay. So let's save this. Let's create a new empty game object and just put our quest script later on at this. And let's call it game controller. Here we go. And now drag our quest script on the quest controller. Now the boss text was somewhere here. We had the boss and this is the boss text. We want to drag this onto the boss text, and now we have an introduction text. This will be displayed at our start method, so before the first frame, which means we can type some starting phrase in here. For example, check the museum for all the artworks. Keep or let's say and hurry, the house will close soon. Start and see if this works. Yes, he's telling us check the museum for all the artworks and hurry, the house will close soon. Now we have already started to install the mechanics of stealing the work of art. We'll refine this in the next episode. You'll learn how to create a timer and change text colors. Furthermore, you'll learn how to use so-called IEnumerators to call methods with a time delay, and we'll use arrays to knock out the light of many game objects at the same time. As you can see, the next episode has covered particularly popular and useful topics, so don't miss it. Until then, let me know if you have any questions, and see you folks!